Okay, day 217.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we just talked to Josh Uretsky. We told him about he told us that his profile was being spoofed. Don't send
On
any
Twitter.
money or anything. The MO here for Foggy Bottom is to take the first 6 pictures that come up in your image search, and then post those like they were Twitter posts. And then, of course, they misspell, they invert 2 words, interpose 2 letters, excuse me, to wink out to everybody else.
Are we sure it's not just an internet prankster doing that?
It could be, but I think Foggy, that's what Foggy does. But anyway, the key question is, if this data did move from NGP, and we have a lot of these, it's almost like the Wasserman family. I don't remember the King family. They had everybody in the family playing a different instrument. It's almost like the Wassermans are you know, with the MWW ad firm. It's just kind of divided up everybody in these different positions to make it look like this isn't just one family.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we have Stephen Wasserman, who's the
assistant U.S. attorney
running the case. We have McCabe, who's investigating the case. I know he's not a Wasserman. But we have Anthony Weiner providing the phones for everybody in the network.
Right.
With Huma and
Hillary. Really kind of a crime family.
Podestas. The Podestas are everywhere in this. They got one Podesta, Heather Podesta, Tony Podesta's ex-wife.
Buying houses, artwork, all kinds of stuff.
And she's also on the board of the police force. She's great friends with Lanier, who runs the police force.
We've been making so many connections with that.
We've got
Lanier left the police force in August 2016, only weeks after the murder.
She made sure she got a picture taken at the DNC.
Now, we also got, what was her name, who was the head of the DNC right before Debbie Wasserman Schultz?
Amy Dacey.
Okay, Amy Dacey leaves the DNC also in August and goes to work, of course, for MWW.
Yeah.
Probably just a coincidence, though.
Yeah. So, and the myth maker in all this is really Mike Kempner. So I'm ready to now dub MWW Mike, Weiner, and Wasserman. Let's call it Mike, Wasserman, and Weiner. Now, it's not Mossad Worldwide. Do we make that clear? That's not Mossad Worldwide. Yeah. And as 2 Jews here, we can say that. Okay. So, no. So where this moves to is all the data goes from Van, and this is the reason why we keep going back to Van, NGP Van, is that those are footprints. Those are the metadata. If I have all the millions of people's names and it moves to the Clinton Foundation magically, okay, then we know that it had to come from here to get over there. It's just that simple. If you know, it's like picking somebody up in a cab over on a mile away from the hospital at MedStar, and then they have that last, you know, 1 mile walk over to MedStar. You know, somebody had to take Seth Rich, or he had to walk from Luz to MedStar. Somehow that happened.
Got there,
we don't know how, but that's where he ended up, and that's where he started. Same way with the data with the Clinton Foundation. So,
and William Korslow, he was confident that the system was flawed. Josh, he wasn't quite as confident. He said there were problems, but you know, he didn't seem as confident as William.
Right.
William knew. He said he knew it was flawed.
Now, you also have SEIU going. Now, the way the NGP Van data works is every time there's an election, it travels with the DNC.
Yeah.
So unlike the Republicans, which separate their information, you basically rent the NGP Van data, and then your campaign has to add value to it. So SEIU sends out all their people.
The DNC owns the data.
Right.
And if your campaign does anything they don't like let's say maybe if you're Bernie Sanders, they can do whatever they want with the data. And they own it.
As soon as they throw you out of the door, your changes stay inside NGP Van. If you send out IBEW to go get a whole bunch of data in Philadelphia, it belongs to the DNC. I mean, NGP Van is DNC. They may as well call it DNC Van.
Yeah.
Let's call it DNC Van from now on, because it is DNC Van.
And there was that article, of course, of how it's bad for democracy. That was linked in an earlier video, so people should go look at that.
Yeah, right. So now we have all the data at Clinton Foundation. So anybody now at Clinton Foundation could have been the person who moved that data. Now we have this data. Let's say this is the cup represents the data. It has to now come back to Washington, D.C. to be in a thumb drive to be given to Craig Murray at American University in a wooded area, if you believe Craig Murray. former ambassador.
How can we get to speak to Craig Murray? Is there any way?
Yeah, if anybody wants to send this to Craig Murray, and we can connect the dots for him, and he can, add his color on his side of the story, we'll go to the actual spot right now, today, where he picked it up. And I'll sit there with a camera while he guides me to the, I think it's the dumpster, I think it's on the student side where all the buses are. I went to where I thought I would do it if it was me, but I would rather have Craig Murray tell me exactly where he picked up the thumb drive. Now that opens up everybody at Clinton Foundation as potential people who could have made the hard drive to give to Craig Murray.
But there's really only one that's been missing for 217 days.
There's really only one that's been missing for 217 days, and that is Eric Braverman. Now, it could be, everybody says, oh, Craig Murray, MI6, and I went to the British Embassy and I looked at DIP passports, and it's right next to the Naval Observatory, and Joe Biden controls the Naval Observatory, which is basically a spy agency for the Navy, ONI. So, I mean, everyone's made those links. My thesis is on September the 15th in Chelsea, not in DC.
Chelsea, New York.
Chelsea, New York.
Where I was the other day.
Yeah, is where the handoff actually was. And
to who? To Murray?
No, it wasn't to Murray. It was to WikiLeaks. It was to
some unnamed person.
Okay, yeah, some unnamed person. Let's leave it there. That night. And the reason why the explosion happens is to divert all those cars. When Jason did the walk over by Braverman's
245 East 21st,
all the cars, and still don't think that's where he lived. I think he actually lives on 23rd Street.
No, that looked like a very crappy apartment to me.
That looks like where the kidnappers may be for the operation. But you have to get the police out of there, and you were there that night.
A lot of cop cars. It's right next to the precinct house.
And you want them going up to 27th Street by the Triangle, or the Flatiron Building.
I was also there the night of the bombing, and there was an incredible police presence. And for days on 23rd, I mean, it seemed really over the top to me, because the bomb really it was such a non-bomb. It just broke a couple windows and didn't even
made to be
fully
loud.
break them.
It was made to be loud, but it didn't really break anything.
Yeah, it's not like it blew up the front of a building like Oklahoma City or anything like that.
The only wink that was left was your friend, where they broke the mirrors.
Oh yeah, King David's
and that was a tell.
Framing store.
I believe that was a wink out to Eric Braverman saying, hey buddy, you don't do this. So now I'm not saying Eric Braverman's dead. I think he's on a kibbutz, living with his brother about 23 miles away from Tel Aviv. But I believe that was the night. Craig Murray was a cover about a week later, and I believe Craig Murray was brought in by CIA through MI6, and that's a fake story. So maybe it's a wild goose chase to go out to American University and look for where the thumb drive is, but I want to do it anyway just to see about metadata. This is the same thing with the Kim.com thing. If you have anything, immediately contact us. Tell us where to go. Tell us where you met. Tell us where you had food. Tell us what you ate. Tell us who the waitress was. We'll check all the cameras. It's metadata, metadata, metadata. That's how these stories are confirmed or not confirmed. That's how our friend at BAM missed it, Joe Biggs.
Oh yeah.
He missed it. He picked up something that was an obvious diversion. And he took the bait, and he's going to disappoint a lot of people today. And I think InfoWars. I hope InfoWars didn't
not with InfoWars
anymore, because he got this happened to him before.
I don't know exactly what happened.
With Pizzagate,
something happened.
Yeah. And so anyway.
Anyway, we'll see where that goes.
The 23rd, the 15th, I think, is the night of the real exchange. If it isn't, then we still need to run down whether the exchange happened. Somebody, and I think it's going to be Justin Cooper, gave that information to Eric Braverman. Justin Cooper is the one guy who
didn't get immunity.
Didn't get immunity. He could have pulled that. That's who I think it is. And it's the old Bill faction who, Justin Cooper hated Brian Pagliano for coming in and,
taking his job
and pushing him out. And so I'm just looking at motive there. That's just speculation. That's working theory. But I think Justin Cooper is the guy who gave Eric Braverman the data, and I think the data happens that night on the 15th.
Pretty awesome. Let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens.